Hello and good evening. Welcome to Close Encounters of the Tech Kind. This is John, coming to you live from this room. I'm not sure exactly which room it is. It's been a week. Today with us, we've got Jackson.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
And Artie.
Good evening, people.
Mike is running a little late today. He sends his apologies. He'll join us on the plane here soon. But from the flight deck, the three of us are going to carry on, and he will join soon. You're watching episode 28. We're calling this one CyberSecurity Calling because, oh my goodness, cybersecurity is a major thing in the phone networks right now. We're recording this on December 12th, 2024, and we're going to skip right into a couple top priority items. Before we get into the main subject, wanted to just kind of banter back and forth on an update with National Public Data. We talked about this at length a few podcasts ago. We had, 3.9 billion records leaked to the internet?
Too many.
It's a small breach.
Which means every address, every phone number, every shade of identity that we've had is out there for the hackers to have. It's out there. It's public. There's nothing you can do about it.
Well, I remember it was up for sale, right, for a while on the dark web. But then did someone buy it and release it, or did he just release it, or what was the?
Don't know how. I mean, maybe his records got hacked, but lots of people got their hands on the data. Especially, Have I Been Pwned? They got a copy of the data.
Oh, nice.
Pentester.com also got a copy of the data, so you can go to their site and see if you're among the many that got compromised. I did a search on me, and oh my goodness. So there's some cool tools out there. Like we're not going to sponsor any, none of these are affiliated with us, but like Delete Me and Aura and LifeLock. There's a whole bunch of them that have unsubscribe and take me off your list and delete my data from your records.
Can't tell you how many.
Some people that use those actually got saved. They weren't published. So.
Oh wow. And I can't tell you how many emails I've had to unsubscribe to just this week. It's ridiculous. Try and get a car insurance
really
quote
is.
for someone. Forget it. You're about to get 20 in your email.
Yep. Saw you looking over there at car insurance. Can I offer you a cheaper price that's not cheaper?
Right. And then you get on the phone with a false hope that maybe they might be, and then after spending 20 minutes on the phone with them and you tell them all their information, they give you a price that's double than what the last person offered you. Pain in my butt.
There was there was a scam a while back, and not scam, but a targeted pricing tool where they would take your information, run a background check on you, and say, it looks like our price is going to be $700 a month, but we ran your numbers for these two competitor sites, and it's cheaper over here. It's only $400 here and $350 over there. Sorry, we're not the best fit for you. Go somewhere else. So if you got some crashes, if you got some tickets, if you're at high risk, they price themselves up and make the competition look a little sweeter.
Mm-hmm.
Totally disingenuous.
It's discrimination too, if you ask me.
Yeah. Risk mitigation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the biggest piece on National Public Data, two things. One, they're not a company anymore, so oops.
When you say National Public Data, that sounds like a government organization. Is that what it is? Or what?
No, they were a data broker.
Oh, okay. That's
Background checks.
Okay. I understand now. That's no fun.
No. No, so they actually had a semi-legal right to have all that data. But, well, we'll get to this in a second. But the cool part is National Public Data not being a company. I think that puts a warning out there to everybody else. Cybersecurity is a thing. If you don't have your data protected, there's actual consequence, like going out of business.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like uncommon. Like, people might look at that and be like, oh, well, I mean, they had 3 point something billion records. Like, of course, they would go out of business. Everybody wants to sue them left, right, up, and down. But it doesn't matter the size. Really, any sort of data breach can cost you a pretty penny. And if you're not ready for it, it's hard to recover from something like that.
Well, and when you've got the entire country in your data set, the class action lawsuit is the United States of America.
Yeah.
Well, with over 3 billion data points in there, more than likely it's more than just the citizens of the country, because we have less than 400 million in this country, if I am remembering properly. So that's, more than almost 8 times as many data points as there are people living in this country.
Mm-hmm.
So that
what
my
might
record
even
actually had more than 20 data points.
Yeah, and that's worse too, because now they have a complete timeline of what you've been doing. So not only is it a picture in time, they've got a little small timeline of you.
Yeah. So our recommended course is freeze your credit. Call your credit agencies, log into your credit agency, freeze your credit, set up accounts, freeze your credit. Because it may already be too late. Somebody could set up as you and do it for you. You don't want that to happen. So here's a not good news, but a step in the right direction. They're now changing regulations to close a loophole these data brokers operated underneath. So they could skirt around it by saying we just serve background checks. We're not a data repository. We're not a credit reporting agency.
Mm-hmm.
We just have data. Well, now they're going to be held to the same standard as credit reporting agencies. So that industry is about to change.
they're not going to be happy about that.
Nope. But none of us are happy with the way they're handling the data now. Personally, I just love to see them delete all the data and let us live our lives. If they're doing background checks, there's official places like, FBI or your state Bureau of Investigations.
Yeah. Who
No
was
reason for that to be
even
duplicated.
I get the feeling that, the state agencies refer out to the private companies because the private companies can gather the information a lot easier than the state agencies can, because they're not, or they haven't been, as restricted in what they can keep and what they can seek out. It's why, if somebody wants information, they tend to go for a private detective instead of through official chains.
And that says something, right?
Yeah.
Like if we've got guardrails preventing official channels from snooping into our lives, that's a good thing. But if we've got some people that are off the chain snooping into our lives, how do we rein that back in? How do we get that back into control? Because, the people in charge shouldn't be looking at our data just willy-nilly, right?
Yeah, it's true. And I think Artie kind of said that a little bit, but who were the types of people that were using this company? Because I know
all kinds. Background checks, security clearances, address verification, credit
I'm just curious,
application.
why would they do it through them rather than, the BY or the FBI?
Probably a more comprehensive database and cheaper.
Yeah.
And faster.
It's a big one. I mean, the speed of the government is. There's a reason there's a joke about the DMV being fast.
Watch Zootopia if you don't get the joke.
It's been a long time since that came out, hasn't it now?
Don't remind me.
Well, now they've got Moana 2 out. There was some other thing that they released a sequel of recently. That was kind of weird to see.
Shrek is over 20 years old.
Inside Out.
Inside Out. So I thought I saw... I couldn't tell what it was. It looked like it was a movie or a show or something, another Inside Out that wasn't like an Inside Out 2. It was something else. Did you see that?
There have been some shorts that they've released.
Yeah, is it supposed to be like a short form? What do they call those? Short films?
Just shorts.
Oh. Interesting. Anyway, yeah, it's weird. I feel like time, according to movies, passes really fast.
At what point does society have more movies than you'll ever be able to watch?
I think we're already at that point for some people.
Well, worth watching. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's purely subjective.
I feel like we could get a pretty objective point. No, but you're right. But I mean, like, I don't know. I'm a pretty heavy movie critic. I feel like, in my opinion, there's a pretty limited number of worthwhile movies to watch, but there's still a lot. So, according to me, we're not there yet. I definitely have enough time to watch them all.
What's fun, though, is when you come across kids that in high school are reading, Hamlet for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, this Shakespeare guy ripped off Disney.
Oh, man.
I've actually witnessed those conversations.
Yep, so have I.
It's sad. It makes you wonder what the education system is really doing. I have a friend, I'm Gen Z, I think. Yeah. So I'm Gen Z, and I have a friend of mine, and we have a pretty decent sized group of friends, and she didn't know who George Washington was, and I was like,
oh no,
I was like, how did you make it through school? I was like, what? Yeah. Oh, we gave her a hard time about that one, a very hard time. But there are people that exist that they just don't know. They don't have a good idea of history.
And you bring that up.
I mean, like him or hate him.
My mind immediately goes to The Simpsons with asking who George Washington Carver was.
George Washington Carver?
Yes.
Oh no.
What?
Don't do what you just made fun of somebody else for doing.
Well, Washington Carver is not as prominent as he used to be in a lot of the teachings.
That's true.
He's credited with popularizing peanut butter. People
Really?
say he invented it, but no, he was instrumental in popularizing it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know if I've ever even read about him. So I guess I'm sorry. I'm just another disappointment there.
Oh.
Well, and it's one of those things. These are pivotal figures in our history. George Washington, definitely. Like him or hate him, he's part of our history. We should at least teach who he was and, the first president of the United States of America.
Oh, yeah.
Seems like an important role.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. He led the revolution, and I mean, you can't not know who he is.
Otherwise, we'd all be speaking English today. Come on, Artie. I opened that door for you.
I'm sorry, my heating kicked on and I didn't hear anything you said.
If it wasn't for George Washington, we'd all be speaking English today.
Well, some of us can't speak English.
I like that line from Fifth Element. I only speak two languages, English and bad English.
Oh, the Fifth
Also
Element.
missed a perfect seg from the previous topic of the data brokers to the main topic for tonight when talking about, keeping yourself secure.
No, we're gonna get into that as soon as Mike gets in the flight deck. We're gonna have into it.
Okay.
But
and Mike is immediately going to replace Jackson in the stream before I switch.
Sorry, don't worry, guys. I won't have left us.
I just need to switch
Mike
scenes.
will sit down in the seat, kick Jackson out. He'll be hanging onto the side of the airplane trying to get back in.
Oh. And there he might be, possibly. Did it kick me out? I don't think it kicked me out, Artie. Not yet, at least.
He has to join first. He has
to
go
right.
Camera.
So we'll see if it works on
the switch.
Almost. Wait for it.
Oh, there we go.
Oh.
We got a background. Well, guys, that was a great podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Good night, everybody.
That's good.
Welcome to the show, Mike. Artie, we got our templates back in alignment.
Everything's good.
Awesome.
And
cool.
Mike, we were just discussing how you were generously going to send us all to Cancun for Christmas.
It's one of those gifts that we really appreciate.
Guess I better figure out where Cancun is.
So you're sending us to Cancun.
Cancun?
Well, for those of you just joining us today, we are going to be teaching you how to make plutonium out of common household items.
How to get demonetized in 5 easy seconds.
Got to get monetized first.
Well, there is that. So we'll take that point to say like and subscribe. We definitely could use the viewership. If you've got any questions, throw them in the comments below. And yeah, I guess that's enough for the ad read. Now
and
back to the regularly scheduled program.
If you want to ask us questions live, come check us out Thursdays, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. What Pacific?
Central.
Pacific. I forgot the word.
Yeah.
4:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 Eastern, on our Twitch channel. Link in the description. Watch me screw up in real time.
Right. None of us can read the script right on screen, so yeah. Check the comments, check the description. There's much better information than our words are conveying at this moment. But hey,
the dyslexia.
Our fault for doing it at the end of the day. That too. Dyslexia is a friend of mine. Wish he'd go away.
Jackson.
So, we talked about... Wait, go... Okay.
I was going to ask Jackson, do you have any questions regarding cell phone security before we actually dive into any of the subject matter that's here?
I'd like to hear what you guys have to say first, and then I'll pick you guys apart. So, have at it.
All right, so we're gonna get into cell phone security in a big way. Real quick, Mike, we just talked about national public data and data breaches and data brokers and some of the changes there. But it's a fantastic segue to get into cell phones, which is an integral part of your personal identity these days.
Yes, it is.
So, I got a phone call from a teammate just now. That's awesome.
So with the phones, in recent weeks there has been not really a data breach, but more of an infiltration of the telecoms. And at first we were told it was just T-Mobile, but it turns out it's a backdoor that has been built into the 3G network protocols, I believe it was, that is still active across all of the phones. And
I kind of remember this. Did we talked about this maybe a little while ago?
I think we touched on it briefly, but this threat actor group is based in China, and they have we've known about it for about 2 months now, but new information is coming out saying that they could have been present in the databases, the information side of all these networks for over a year.
So can you give me? Are any of you able to explain to me what the actual vulnerability or backdoor was, and how is it only applied to the 3G network rather than 5?
It was a required backdoor into the network as required by federal law enforcement. And why it was only in 3G and not the later versions, I couldn't tell you. That's above my pay grade.
Well, that's one of the suspected vectors. There's multiple vectors that these guys are coming at. The report that I heard this morning, and I heard it on the internet, so it must be true. 8 major networks have threat actors active inside them. The FBI is now saying, never mind what we've been saying about don't use encrypted apps. You heard about that, guys. They were saying stop using the encryption because we can't get access to it.
Yeah. They actually had lawsuits against Apple to get into the phone because of encryption.
They're reversing their stance. They're saying everybody should get an encrypted app to do secure text messages. So if you're an iPhone to iPhone kind of scenario, you're fine. iMessage is secured. If you're Android to Android, it's secured mostly. It's when you go between the two, that's when there's no security. It's raw SMS.
You're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Although, was that part of the reason why recently Apple switched to whatever that is, where instead of just SMS, it was then some other form that. Sorry, I can't really articulate what this is. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I know what you're talking about, and I believe that we have to thank the EU again for that. It was a requirement for them to maintain the security, even if it's not across their own network.
Yep.
Gotcha. Huh. Okay, so that's interesting. If that was part of the propellant, then that's cool. Good to know. Because Apple switched from before it was either iMessage or SMS. There was no in between. But Android have, like you're saying, between Androids, there's a form. What do I say? Is it called RMS? Is that right? I don't know if.
Don't know.
Anyway, it's got its own acronym, but it's basically iMessage, but for everyone.
Well, but it doesn't work on Apple. Like when it goes across, it loses the secure nature of it.
Oh, even that same one that they just released?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I see.
Because the technologies don't talk well to each other yet.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So the recommendation is use Signal or WhatsApp or another end-to-end encrypted thing. But Signal kind of is the golden standard now. Everybody says we're almost as good as Signal, or we are just as good as Signal. Why not just use Signal?
There are a few that are saying that they're better than Signal, but they haven't been around long enough to make those boasts.
We're new.
Well,
we just came out. We're better than them.
What's funny too about this whole situation is, I'm not actually sure how much of the rest of the world even uses SMS. Because I know the majority, if not all of South America, uses WhatsApp by default. Mm-hmm. No one texts over their phone carrier.
And WhatsApp is also in a bit of what's the word? WhatsApp is the one that is owned by Facebook, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
So they are also being scrutinized as to whether or not they're secure or not, because Facebook has also been infiltrated and data has been exfiltrated from them.
So in the online college classes that I took recently, because of the international nature of my courses, that I had teams and everything, and we're all over the world, WhatsApp was like the preferred method for communicating, because all of my foreign friends already had it and were using it on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I remember during that time of using it, I remember there was an upgrade in WhatsApp to provide more security, more assurance that it was end-to-end encrypted and everything. So I know it's working on. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if this has changed at all, but as far as I knew, Facebook actually didn't even, or Meta, I guess I should say, they don't store any of the messages. Actually, it is all locally stored. So between you and whoever else has the conversation, if it's not on one of those devices, you can't retrieve that message. So I mean, that's a little comforting to know that, and I'm not even sure if that's 100% true. But that was my experience.
It is with Signal.
Say that again.
It is with Signal.
What do you mean?
If you have correspondence with somebody on Signal and your phone dies, it's gone. It's not on a server.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a surprise to me when I lost a pretty awesome conversation I
had. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, I used WhatsApp Direct for 2 years straight, pretty much, while I was in Brazil, and it's so much integrated. Like, I mean, if you tried to text you an SMS, like, they may not even look at it or ever see it or even get it because they may not even pay for it. It's just, I think the U.S. is like, we're the odd ones out in that situation of, you know, I think most people in the U.S. don't use anything other than their SMS or iMessage or whatever the other version is called that I still can't remember. But although I have seen in recent last, I guess, year or two, it's been a little bit more common for people to at least know or have WhatsApp. I'm not sure the reasons for that. But I know as far as the rest of the world is concerned, like, yeah, they don't use SMS.
And each market is going to have its own ecosystem, its own, the people are going to want to do a certain thing, certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, what do they call it? The critical mass. Like, you get to a certain threshold of users and all of a sudden you have the app to use. We're watching that with Blue Sky right now. People are trying to turn that into the new Twitter or the alternative to Twitter. Mastodon had that happen a while back, but about a month later, everybody's back on Twitter. So you got to get a certain number of people to move across. If you've got a whole country, a whole culture, and dare I say it, if the phones that are sold and the iPads or tablets that are sold has WhatsApp by default, you own that market.
Yeah. And
that's
that kind of goes
Google got in
back.
trouble.
Yeah, I was going to say, and that goes back to the whole Google thing, where they got in trouble with monopolies because they are default on everything.
They paid to be default on everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, sorry, I just keep remembering things from, my experience living outside of the country, but I mean, WhatsApp, most smaller businesses, they don't even have like a website. They have just their WhatsApp store. I mean, it's so funny. If you wanted to go order a pizza, it was rare that they actually even had a website. WhatsApp has, their whole business profiles, and so you can just have everything there. I mean, I think they are trying hard to be kind of the end all be all.
Mm-hmm. Fun fact: the guy that wrote and put out Signal, he was on the team that started WhatsApp.
It's kind of
That's
funny
funny.
how that happens. The team splinter and people, it's the screw you guys, I'm going home type of mentality when it comes to making the projects if there's a disagreement.
Yeah.
I mean,
Taking my toys, and I'm going to go play in a different sandbox.
It's why Blue Sky exists right now.
Who are they a stem from, would you say?
Twitter?
They are. I just
remember all those
touched
Twitter
it.
layoffs when Elon Musk took over?
Yeah, it's them.
Yeah, they've just got to hit the critical mass and the functionality, and then they got it. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that there's no politics in tech, but there absolutely is politics in tech. And you get the cults and the factions and the tribes, and they all find their own wanted tools, and they go do it. And then, yeah.
Anyone that says that's not true, I got 2 words to say to you. Mac and PC.
Yeah, PC all the way.
Yep. That's like, what's IT like? Oh, merry-go-round?
Does Mac support NVIDIA yet?
I don't think so. I think especially since they've gone to M1, or I guess the M series, because now they're at like M4 or whatever. I don't think they have a reason to, in their eyes, I should say.
Apple Silicon.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they care to. They cut out Intel already.
It's a bold move.
Now that I think about it, I actually don't know. Do they support AMD? Because I know you can, if you get like a Mac Tower. Okay, it must have been because I remember I used to work at a company and we had a Tower Mac, an older one, and I knew it had a beefier graphics card in it, but I couldn't remember if it was an AMD or an NVIDIA. But it must have been an AMD card. But I remember there was news of like Intel was going to make their own graphics card. I don't know if it was for that reason of, the Macs, but I know that flopped or whatever. They never even finished it or something like that.
Actually, Intel just released, like last week, their graphics cards.
Did they actually?
Yeah.
Yep.
I've got to take a look at this now.
I think it was
they're not terrible.
Battle Mage was the project.
That was the name of the project?
Yeah.
Is it? I'm seeing the Arc B series. Is that what I'm?
That might be
is
it.
that, am I in the right spot? Okay, interesting.
But yeah, that's a recent development.
Okay, well I guess I take it back. They did make the graphics cards. I don't know who's going to buy them.
We'll just see if they are good graphics cards or not.
Yeah.
Because from the specs, they are comparable to the previous generation and the next generation are coming out in January. So we will see.
You mean comparable to an NVIDIA?
Yeah,
NVIDIA's previous generation?
Previous generation, yeah. The 40s.
Very interesting. I wonder how they are in cost.
So not to get us back on track, but cell phones.
No, sorry. I didn't mean
cell
to.
Phones, yes.
Didn't mean to drag us that far.
So I think the biggest question in people's minds is, what do we do? You know, we can, every time I sit down and sit with somebody and say, here are the threats, here's what's actually happening, you know, your phone network is compromised. It's like, do I just turn off my phone and, you know, go read books? So, I mean, it's a pivotal thing. If you need to get back into an account, you need two-factor authentication, you need SMS, you need some of those tools. So if somebody can hijack that, great. You familiar with SIM swapping?
A little bit.
Or SIM jacking?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, actually.
So you can, a bad actor can actually clone your SIM onto another phone. So if you need two-factor authentication, that SIM now is on the other guy's phone. So all they have to do is say, reset my password. Oh, we just texted you a code to type in that code. And if they've got both sides of that, then they've got everything on you. So logging into your bank, for instance.
And I'd have no idea either. I won't get notified about it.
Yeah.
I have something sort of recent news on that front as well.
Yeah.
So there was something that either passed recently or went into effect recently that requires all phone carriers to have an option to lock the SIM card, which basically means that
that's where I'm going with this.
Okay. I didn't know.
Yep. No. That's fine. So there's two things you can do. You can lock your SIM, and you can prevent your number from getting ported out too. So
I'm fine with that.
The biggest thing that we can recommend is go into your cell phone provider's web portal, your account, and turn these features on. So you want to make sure that your account has a PIN number so people can't port your account or shut down your account, but turn on the blocks for these things so that you cannot port these things out without your express permission. There's two things in this world to protect, guys. Your email address and your cell phone number. Those are your back doors back into your life. Because if you ever forget a name and a password, you hit forget password, what does it do? It goes back to your email. It goes back to your phone. Very rarely will it say, oh, you forgot your email. I tell you what, we'll email it to you.
And especially Google, yeah, they're tough with that. I've ran into that several times where you trying to recover a Google account without the two-factor or the backup thing. It's nearly a lost cause, especially since you can't get a hold of anybody. There is no one to call at Google.
Yeah, one of our customers was like that we've been trying to recover an account, and we managed to get through one layer of two-factor authentication only to find out that at the elevated privilege we needed now another layer of two-factor authentication. And it's like, we're going to send a message to the number, and now it used to be ending in, it'd show you the 4 digits. No, now it's down to we're going to show you the last 2 digits. And you're like, great. What phone number could that possibly be? And we look on the calling tree list of every employee at the organization, and it's like those 2 digits aren't in anybody's phone number that's there. So it's somebody who is long gone, or didn't ever even work there, kind of thing. It's like, we have no idea who this person is. Like, it's gone. We might as well just wave goodbye. Bye-bye account. We're we're not going to have access to you anymore.
We can get you in, but cost just goes way up. I mean, if you got something you got to have, let us know. We can provide some workarounds. But like I say, the cost goes up, the time goes up. It's a very legal process you got to go through.
Mm-hmm. You actually have to start talking to human beings at Google or Facebook or whoever it is, and they're not going to do it for free either. So,
no, in my experience, you had to sign up for one of Google's services that's like the monthly recurring thing for Google Plus or whatever they call it. And then you have a chance at talking to a real person, but you have to escalate it like many times to get there.
There's a few ways of getting a hold of management but it changes all the time because once somebody gets through, they talk about it on Reddit or Twitter or any of those other, and then everybody tries that. But here's one that will work for you guys. If you're ever on a hold, like perpetual hold, I've heard this from multiple people stuck in an airport. If you're on hold and it's just a computer system, curse at it. It will connect you to a human.
That's funny.
But I don't.
It's a new one on me.
Yeah, I mean, just get very belligerent with the thing. If you hit the right keywords, it will transfer you to a human.
That's some smart AI right there.
Yep. It's like, I'm tired of being offended. I'm going to give you to a human that you can really hurt their feelings.
On a similar note, if you're ever on hold, don't start talking to yourself or anything, because many times you just put on that the person that you're talking to just muted themselves. Unless you start hearing music in the background, there's a good chance that you're just on mute.
Even then.
Yeah.
Even then, some mute systems have hold music.
So just be kind.
Yeah. I think that's sage advice for every situation. Be kind.
True.
Always worked for me.
Yep. Going through the airport, I see ticket agents always get barked at by somebody who's having a bad day, and it's like, this ticket agent, this gate agent, this person checking you in has nothing to do with the flight being late. Don't yell at them.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember one time I was on hold for I think over an hour, and I was so sick of hearing the same like minute loop of music, so I went and sat down at the piano and just played my own wait music back at them, hoping someone was listening on the other end.
I'm trying to decide what's worse, listening to the same hold music over and over again ad nauseum, or there was one business in my previous career that I had to, for a period of time, I had to regularly call their, basically their customer support, and they'd put me on hold, and it would play different music throughout the whole process. It'd play a song and change. The problem was it'd only play 20 seconds of it, and then it would play an announcement, to tell me what position in line I'm in, and then to remind me that they're always here to help me, and that they can answer all these kinds of questions, and I should, be blah 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 with them, blah blah blah, and then it would start into the next song. Like I'm like, oh, I wanted to hear the rest of that. It's like that's just like, you got me hooked. Like, now they listen to your voice again. Now you're going to play something different. Now I'm going to have to wait for that song to go through the playlist to go all the way through before I hear it again. Oh man! So I don't know.
Were you trying to make a mixtape?
I don't know which version of hell I prefer more.
Well, I mean, if it's hell, you're not going to get the one you prefer. It's going to be the other.
I know it's always they're both uncomfortable. I mean,
So, again, going back to the topic with the phone security, um, it's not just the text messaging that is um, at the core of this. It's also the phone calls being listened to,
mm,
and they are recommending the FBI, NSA, CISA, all the governmental agencies that are really trying to help secure things in this country, all have come out saying, please use an end-to-end encryption type of software or messaging service. With that being said, we've mentioned Telegram, we've mentioned Signal. Are there any out there that do both texting and voice that you would maybe not recommend, but ones that you could speak highly of, or you know what I'm trying to say? Not an endorsement, but an endorsement.
So I've seen a lot of other YouTubers get sponsored by 3CX. We have not yet been sponsored by 3CX. We would love to offer that as a sponsored thing, but we are actually a systems integrator for 3CX. It is your own private phone server. You can have communications, like we have internal communications on 3CX, and it also has a text messaging platform. So it is completely private. It is encrypted end to end, and it doesn't ride on Verizon or other 3CX systems. It is your own private server. It's super cool. So we can stay in touch off the grid, so to speak. Then you can connect it to the grid and have on-grid conversations. So you can have your own private, but it also reaches out so you can, I don't want to say reach out and touch someone because we might get sued for saying that, but yeah.
Yeah, I like 3CX.
There's many other solutions.
I especially like that, you can have it on your phone and have your own separate number on there. So, I mean, I like that my personal number, I mean, I'm not even sure if, John, you probably know it, but, I mean, I don't have to be using that for, company use.
Yep. It's, well, I mean, there's more, just to walk down that. When I started the company, I put out my personal cell phone, and I realized very quickly that that is not a sustainable model. Because at some point, there will be more than just me working on the customer projects. And so I can't transfer with my cell phone. I need a system that can do that. There's many out there. There's even some free PBX softwares that if you're inclined to use or sit down and learn, you can use that. But I settled on 3CX because it had a rich and diverse forum, and I could self-help. And after some time, we all got certified on it. So, again, they're not sponsoring us. We're not necessarily promoting them, but 3CX is a pretty robust solution that you can put in. Ring Central is another one, but I don't know what their server model looks like. Pretty sure you don't have your own server.
What about standalone programs that don't require the server, like Signal or WhatsApp?
Well, they do use servers.
Well,
right?
I mean that you don't need to set it up yourself. You can just, make an account and go.
Yeah, if you're a day-to-day person, someone that might be watching that, isn't necessarily business-minded, but just for their own personal use.
Yeah, and that's there's hundreds of apps out there that can do that. The challenge in everybody's mind is, how do I connect? Let's say Mastodon. We've watched that rise and fall. Some people still use it. Not saying don't, but it was a thing until it wasn't, and it became it wasn't because people could not talk to all their contacts. Only those that had shifted over to it would be in the circle of knowledge and your circle of friends.
More than that, but yeah.
Well, there's more nuance, but if you don't have a tool that can reach out and talk to everybody, like WhatsApp, that's on all phones, then you don't have a tool that can reach everybody.
Granted, though, with WhatsApp, whoever you're texting does also have to have the app downloaded and an account created.
And if they've got Facebook, they've got it. And if you got a cell phone, you more than likely have Facebook.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you send an invite request, your phone will at some level ping you. Just one of those unfortunate realities with our data being everywhere. Full circle back to our data being out in the wild.
This is why I like to use my phone as just a phone. No apps installed.
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest thing people can do to protect themselves, you the viewers, is get really educated on the tools that are offered by your providers. For WhatsApp, go through all the settings. Make sure you understand what they all are. If you've got questions, Google it. Talk to somebody that's technologically inclined and born with a knack. Just even ChatGPT, if you ask it questions, how do I secure my Signal app? It'll tell you. How do I secure my SMS? It'll tell you. Don't trust GPT to be the only source, but it'll be a good start.
Be a good start for you to go research what it might suggest you to do.
Yeah, so the two things to lock down is your cell phone number and your email address. Lock those down with your credit, and the rest are recoverable. Like if somebody breaks into your Facebook account, but you've got strong recovery information, there's a good chance you can get back in.
So update your information on those to be current, so that it's like if your recovery email is one that was like a Hotmail account, you've had the account that long, you're not going to be getting in because
that's funny.
It's retired forms of email communication. So make sure things are up to date. Phone number, recovery email address, and
you get a password keeper. Get some sort of encrypted tool that can record all your logons, all those things. Make sure that thing is locked down nice and tight too. It's those keys that get you access to other keys. That's what you got to keep safe. Locking down your credit prevents people from taking credit out in your name. Locking down your cell phone prevents people from using your cell phone to get other things that you have access to. If somebody gets into your bank, you can quickly turn around and do that. Here's another one. I saw a YouTuber express himself. He said he went into his bank and got an actual contract with them saying, I'm a very public person. My voice is all over YouTube. Don't take phone calls for any transactions on my accounts. I have to be here in person. Mm-hmm. If it's not me, if you take it over the phone and you do things, you pay the entire bill. And his bank agreed to that. I think that's a brilliant thing to do, is make sure that you are who you are and nobody else can take that from you.
Especially with the advancement of AI, they can replicate a lot of things, especially even your voice. And so, yeah, it's a good idea to move forward with that.
So how do we protect each other in this world? So like there's companies that have had wire fraud perpetrated through AI spoof. There was like $23 million wired to the wrong company because their leadership was cloned, AI cloned in a Teams meeting or Zoom meeting, I forget which. Did you hear about that?
Say that again. What was it that happened?
So it's a fun one, retrospectively, and because I wasn't involved in the actual money loss. But So you had a junior senior admin, so like deputy chief financial officer or something like that. I'm paraphrasing badly, guys. I don't have the story in front of me. He's in a Zoom meeting with the chief, the technology officer, CEO, chief financial officer, all those bigwigs, right? And it's just like this, where we're all on a Zoom meeting or Discord or whatever they were using. And it was deep fakes. Everybody on the meeting was a deep fake except for this target. And they told him, here's the account number. You need to transfer, it was like 200 million yen to this number now. And so the guy went out and did it, not knowing that the Teams meeting was completely fictitious and he was being scammed by some very crafty people that knew exactly what to say, knew exactly what to look like, and they took him.
Wow.
That money is gone, not recovered.
Wow.
So how do you protect yourself against something like that?
Well,
as a company, let's make this an easier one. As a company, how would you protect yourself?
Don't conduct major company business over a Zoom meeting. That's just a policy right there.
Jackson?
There's got to be some sort of shared knowledge or something, some sort of a password or some other way to verify who you are and what you're seeing is actually what you're seeing. You know, there's got to be something established long beforehand. So when a moment like that comes up, like, you want me to go buy how many gift cards? You know, there's some other, you know, again, it's another form of two-factor authentication, right? You know, I can see and hear you, but we know deepfakes exist. So, you know, what's that, you know, password the vocal password that we set, you know, forever ago. And if you can't give me that, then I'm not going to go buy gift cards.
Mm-hmm. So, Artie, do you have any thoughts on it?
I was just having a humorous thought, but with regards to that, yeah, it's like you can set up a rotating password that is just like a random thing, or I know that something that different like law enforcement agencies have done is like, okay, what's the color of the week? What's the color of the day? What's the blank of the blank? And if they don't respond properly, then it's just like, well, we're ending this conversation now, and click, no longer talking to them. And it's to prevent the impersonation, and it's a very simple method of making sure that everybody's on the same page and that everybody's who they say they are. And yeah, that can be socially engineered at times, but it's a lot harder to social engineer if you're not privy to like going into the office and you know you see like a stuffed animal on the secretary's desk that day that's like a little dog, and that's going to be the code for the day or the week that, oh, so I just got to remember it's Bartholomew the dog that's on the desk today.
Well, I got good news for all of you. You're all right. The best thing every company can do is establish their standard. Whatever it is, don't tell anybody except the people that need to know. And if you lose one of those key people, change the standard. Don't have the same routine and don't publish what that routine is. It's a verbal thing, face to face. Set the rules, set the standard. We're going to have color of the day. We're going to have a stuffed animal on the desk. We're going to have whatever it is. And then establish the means of communicating that. Are we going to talk by text? Are we going to talk by phone? Are we going to talk face to face? You know, what is the challenge, and then, you know, what are the challenge request and challenge acknowledgement. What is that? Once you've got that standard set in your company, then you feel a little safer that you're not going to get scammed. But these tools are out there, guys. We can get impersonated. Don't fall for it.
Going back a ways, it kind of reminds me of the passcodes that would be used by spies. It's like you sit down at a random location and you just say like, "Oh, the weather is very inclement today. I wonder if it's going to rain later." And that would be the key signal for somebody else to come up and say the response to that. And if they don't say the response, they're not your target, and you just like carry on a normal conversation with them. So,
yeah, when they look at you and say, "Well, you should have looked at the newspaper this morning," probably not your contact. Yeah,
I mean,
spycraft really is something we got to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things, guys. It's not paranoia if they really are out to get you. And the bad news is there are people out to get us. They know who we are. They've got our names. They got our dates of birth. They've got our social security numbers. They've got everything. So protect yourselves. And on that happy note, I think we're at the bottom of the hour. I'm looking at my clock. My microphone's right in front of the clock. That makes it difficult. But any parting thoughts that we want to share that might lift the hopes?
You are you. So if you if you keep moving, you keep changing things, right? I mean, when we say all your information is out there, it is. And so, you are the most valuable piece of your online identity. So you've got to keep that moving, keep that alive, and constantly be changing that.
Be you. Don't stop. Somebody else might try and imitate who you were, but they aren't who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Much better said than I did.
So yeah, keep hope, guys. I mean, there's definitely a path to the future. Just stay vigilant, stay safe. If you have any questions, reach out to somebody that knows a thing or two about technology. None of us are experts in everything, but you know somebody that is an expert in the thing you got a question on. Reach out to them, talk to them. They're happy to help you. Well, they should be happy. If they're not happy to help you, they're not your guy or gal. But we'll say if you've got questions, leave them in the comments. We'll get back to you on what the answers are. And until next time, I am John.
I'm Mike.
I'm Jackson.
Marty.
And we will see you later. Stay safe, guys.